what do you hope coaches get out of this updated version of the course?
It's good. I mean, I don't know. It's just strong. I mean, it's like, it's I hope they get out of it a sense of confidence in themselves, in the coaching process, in the research, and understanding. Yes, like uh, there is something to learning the mechanics of how human beings work that you then can consciously use to make yourself a stronger, better, more flexible, more kinder, empathetic. Like, there are things. This understanding has consequences. Like, for instance, one of the things I've been playing with a lot is this idea of our daily cycles, and thinking of when we go through periods of up and down, and periods of where we're more primed for flow, and other times we have to take rests and things like that. But if you think in terms of 20 minutes, like, let's say you're feeling sad or down in 20 minutes, and understanding, okay, like, it's perfectly normal to have a 20-minute lull at different times, and to start having mindfulness around them, to go, okay, I'm in my 20-minute lull. Don't make any decisions in the 20-minute lull. Don't try to get yourself out of the 20-minute lull. Like, just have a plan. Like, what's your 20-minute lull plan? Like, literally set a timer. Set a timer and say, okay, 20 minutes, and then I'm going to then come back to this. My 20-minute plan is I'm going to stare out the window for 10 minutes. I'm going to I'm going to put on this structure to remind myself, like, give myself some time to process whatever emotion I need to process. Do I need to write a page in my journal? Do I need to call a friend? Do I need to text, text somebody? Do I need to look at my, the board of what, I have a board, a goals board that basically functions like a project tracker. Things, and you have a list of things to do, and then you have a list of things to avoid. Like, avoid checking news, avoid checking certain social feeds, avoid going down these rabbit holes. And it's like you can use knowledge like that to know, how do I craft action steps and habits so that I can be more effective. It's work. It's not, but you can't expect yourself to jump from 0 to 10 without having a couple little steps in between, without preparing for it, without having a plan for the lull, or having a plan for if you're feeling like you're having a tough day. Like, do you have people you can reach out to, or at least send, check in with, have check-in buddies, accountability buddies, things like that, your coach. Like, there's just a lot of value in understanding, and when you're in that solo space, to be able to be in places where you can connect. Part of resilience is building that, preparing that, developing that. It's a big deal, especially now.
Yeah, it sounds like really related to that concept that we talk about in the Build Your Life's work, like the dip, where we talk about, what are you doing in that space when things maybe aren't going quite the way you thought they were going to go, or the progress you're making in your business isn't as quite as fast or as efficient as you were hoping it would be. So how are you planning in those steps, and having this 2.0 class to help really bolster those skills and talents and abilities that you've already collected in the 1.0 is a great way to sort of have a great resource to have in that dip, or in that role that you were just talking about. Is that sort of the relationship there?
Right, and then looking at all the wellness, all the ideas of what we have in terms of, knowledge around wellness and internal structures. I feel like we do a lot around having internal structures to help, different narratives and different, thoughts, stories we have around ourselves. One of the insights, I know we're running up against time, but I just gotta share this insight because I feel like I've been playing with it so much today, and I'm really enjoying it. The idea comes from, neurobiology, thinking of our brains in terms of, having a more, primitive, reptilian brainstem that wants to seek comfort, avoid danger, right? It's like what you're talking about earlier. Like it sends out danger signals all the time. That's its job. It keeps you safe. The way it keeps you safe is by alerting us of, threats, which is really useful. We need this. The way that the frontal cortex developed, with language, reasoning, logic, all those things, there is a temptation for the frontal cortex to think, you know what, brainstem, like you exist to serve me, and I'm going to want my comfort-seeking self to obey my reason logic self. And that's not the way it works. That's not the way it was designed. It was flipped. It's the comfort-seeking self that is really the one calling a lot of these shots and frustrates the logic prefrontal cortex self. And when you can start to, so it's almost like like becoming like a peace ambassador, like not like, you know what I mean? Like not trying like one to over like muscle the other. And when I see a lot of these like New Year's resolutions fail, I'm like, here we are at the end of January. It's precisely because the frontal cortex self that wants to muscle through these things. And you gotta just love on that comfort-seeking self. Like just give it a hug. It just wants a hug. It wants to be seen. It wants to be heard. It wants some love. And it's it's so helpful. And this is like what a lot of the work that we've done in the beginning chapters of the 2.0 have looked at, asking, okay, so what are our separate selves, and what do our separate selves need, and how can you approach that from an empowerment coaching perspective, using the insights of positive psychology from a powerful, and then with the empathetic, empowering curiosity of a coach. So that to me is how we constructed an example of how we've constructed the 2.0.